Hola muchachos, ¿qué tal? Buenos días. Aquí tienen el horario para hoy, jueves, el 16 de febrero. No homework was due for today. No homework at all due for the 4-day weekend. Enjoy your 4-day weekend. Just to continue working on your Chapter 2AB elective assessment, the 20 things that you did over the course of a day, weekend, week, any moment in time or measurement of time. 20 things you did in the past tense. Don't forget to include at least one example of each of those points of view. And you're using the past, the preterite tense we've been looking at here for the past couple weeks. All right, daily objectives for today: to ask and indicate about what you did over the weekend, or yesterday for that matter, in the preterite past tense. To identify what types of errands that need to be ran in certain locations. Express the business hours of various locations in your local community. Warm-up question is a continuation of the same question from last class, but you're going to discuss your responses in partners. We'll review the vocabulary that we began going over last class to talk about shopping and errands. Read and review a script on errands that native speakers run in Mexico City. Answer some comprehension questions on that video, and then do some pair practice utilizing this key vocabulary in context. Any time left over, we'll work on your project, which again is due the first week of March. All right, using the endings in the preterite for today's warm-up, you're going to share with your partner, people around you, the 3 things that you've done recently to help around the house. So ask your partner the question, ¿Qué hiciste para ayudar en casa? What did you do to help around the house? ¿Qué hiciste para ayudar en casa? And then they're going to share with you the 3 things that they did recently, and pick one of those things and transcribe the response in the third person singular, the él, ella, usted form. You can see the conjugations there, the examples. Cristina limpió el baño. Pedro organizó su cuarto. Elena y su familia pasaron la aspiradora. Those verbs conjugated. The last one's in the third person plural. The other 2 are in the third person singular. It's probably the form you're going to be using to talk about what your classmates did recently to help around the house. That vocabulary we went over last class on page 126. Things that we do to help around our bedroom, kitchen, and other homes throughout, in other rooms throughout the home, outside the home, and then various locations throughout the home. If you want the translations, take a look at the daily agenda video from last class. I went over them in great detail with you. And then chapter 3A we started last class, and really it's all about continuing to build on the vocabulary we looked at last chapter. Shopping expressions, but we're going to expand to talk about errands that you needed to run and certain things that you needed to do and where you did those activities. Page 130, página 130, has a variety of locations where we run our errands, and then the errands themselves, things that we buy and do in all of these locations. It's on pages 130 and 131. So what we're going to do next is take a look at the video historia. ¿Qué hiciste esta mañana? Aquí está. So for this video sequence, we have Ramón, Manolo, Claudia, y Teresa. And this sequence talks about where the characters went and what they had to do, what errands they needed to run in each location. So you guys are going to be following along, reading along in the script, watching the video that corresponds with the script, and then answering the questions for the comprendiste section on page 133. Let's go over those questions together. Número 1. Los 4 jóvenes tienen planes para la tarde. ¿A dónde piensan ir? The 4 friends have plans for the afternoon. Where are they thinking of going? ¿A dónde piensan ir? So you can follow along in the script. And you can see the answers are kind of going to correspond chronologically in the script. So they say, Manolo y Ramón nos esperan, are expecting us, a las 2 para ir al cine. So there we have our answer. Los 4 jóvenes, or ellos, right? The 4 friends, or they, ellos piensan ir, and then the answer, al cine. They're thinking of going to the movies. So you're going to find that the answers are more or less in chronological order to these questions. Number 2, antes de ver a Ramón y Manolo, ¿cuáles son las 3 cosas que Teresa tuvo que hacer? Before seeing Ramón y Manolo, what are the 3 things that Teresa had to do? She says, tengo que comprar varias cosas en la farmacia. Ir a la biblioteca a devolver un libro. She says, enviar una carta al correo. Those are the 3 things that she has to do. Teresa tuvo que ir a la farmacia, ir a la biblioteca para devolver un libro, y ir al correo para enviar una carta. Number 2, bit tricky. There's a lot there to capture. Number 3, ¿por qué entró Teresa en el correo? Well, we answered that question as part of number 2. Ella tuvo que enviar una carta. Ella tuvo que comprar sellos. She needed to buy stamps. As well. All right, number 4. ¿Qué se le olvidó, Teresa? What did Teresa forget? Something very important. You can find your answer there. Whoops. Espera un ratito, espérame. Perdóname. In box 7. She forgets something pretty important. You can find your answer there in box 7, and then going back to boxes 4 and 5, you'll find the answers to where Ramón and Manolo went earlier in the day. You can find that on page 132 on boxes 4 and 5, and then finally number 6, where did the 4 friends decide to go before going to the movies? And that can be found in the last box, box 8. Forgive me. All right, last thing that we're going to do is, vocabulario en uso, ejercicios 4 y 5 en la página 134. And you guys are going to be doing this in partners, and actually not need to submit. I'll change that, and I'll change that right now in real time so I don't forget. You do not need to submit these in class. These are just going to be part of your notes to be able to study off of. You guys have a midterm at the end of the chapter, or at the end of the quarter. So I want to make sure that you have them, and you guys never submit anything to me in paper. It's always on Canvas. So Nothing that you need to submit. Keep in your notes. Exercises 4 and 5 on page 134. Let's take a look. So for exercise 4, you are creating a T-chart. And the heading there, Los Lugares, is going to go on the left. And then Tengo que on the right. Los lugares are places. And so underneath that category, you are going to write in Spanish these 8 places. For example, el supermercado, la biblioteca, la tienda de equipo deportivo, la farmacia. So write the names of the locations, and all those are in your key vocabulary, and also in the glossary on page 152. And then for each of those locations, write an errand or an activity that you would associate with each place. Again, page 152 is going to have a lot of suggestions there. That's the glossary. You have these notes in your notebook as well. So we're looking for verbs, right? Cobrar un cheque.
Cobrar un cheque.
Echar una carta.
Echar una carta.
Devolver un libro.
Devolver un libro.
Llenar el tanque.
Llenar el tanque.
So you can use those expressions from page 152, or use verbs that you're already familiar with, activities, things that we would associate with a location, verbs that you're already familiar with. So, for example, la biblioteca is the location. Tengo que means I have to. What are the things that you have to do or would do at the library? Tengo que devolver un libro.
Devolver un libro.
Return a book. Sacar un libro.
Sacar un libro.
Take out a book or check out a book. Those are 2 activities. Or, tengo que leer. I need to read. Tengo que estudiar. Tengo que escribir. Any other verbs that you think make sense. So pick an activity or an errand that you would associate with each of these locations. The location goes on the left, and the errand or the activity goes on the right. Once you have that established, then for exercise 5, use that information to complete the question for part A, and then use the schedule, el horario, los horarios or schedules, use the schedule to talk about the hours of operation. ¿A qué hora se abre? What time does the place open? ¿Y a qué hora se cierra? What time does the location close? So, for example, utilizing the information here to talk about what you need to do at the supermarket. Tengo que comprar cereal. I have to buy cereal. ¿A qué hora se abre el supermercado? What time? ¿A qué hora? What time does the supermarket open? Using the information down below here. Se abre, it opens. Se abre a las 8 de la mañana. ¿Y a qué hora se cierra? What time does it close? Creo que se cierra a las 11 de la noche. So, let's take a look at the pharmacy. Tengo que, what do we need to buy at the pharmacy? Tengo que comprar shampoo. Tengo que comprar pasta dental. Tengo que comprar medicina, right? Whatever errand you want to associate. I'll say tengo que comprar shampoo. ¿A qué hora se abre la farmacia? Farmacia is going to go here. And then we're going to use the hours of operation to finish off the conversation. Se abre a las 6. Se abre a las 6 de la mañana y creo que se cierra a las 10 de la noche. So that is exercises 4 and 5. And again, no homework at all for the weekend. Just continue working on your Chapter 2AB elective assessments.